Dear Corvette friends and enthusiasts, good afternoon and welcome to today's Corvette Live session that we are broadcasting from the showroom of Mobile Forum near Dresden, Germany. Respecting COVID restrictions, we are connected to you on this Sunday online. That doesn't mean, however, that this is going to be a one-way communication only, quite the opposite. We'd like to get as many questions from you as possible, and we will be addressing those during this session. And don't get mad at us if you don't do that instantaneously. We'll try to group these questions according to topics. Well, the wait for the European versions of the Corvette is slowly coming to an end. Proof point for this is you find on our websites now all information on the launch editions. All that you're interested in the 8 coupe versions that we are offering or the 8 convertible versions that we're offering. Select your favorite if you haven't done so yet. And now it's time to look at and beneath the skin of our new mid-engine sports car. And we couldn't have asked for better experts than these two. Longest-standing Corvette race driver ever, 5 times Le Mans winner, Oliver Gavin, and my team colleague, Patrick Herrmann, who knows the Corvette. Goodness gracious me.
We're probably wondering why Oliver is coming out of this side and apologizing, huh?
Yeah, really?
Because he wants to have already the full experience how a right-hand drive version will be, huh? When he's sitting over there. It's coming soon.
It's going to be fantastic.
Just a little more and it's going to be there, exactly.
Can't wait.
Okay. Well,
so let's rock and roll, huh?
Stage is yours.
We are so happy that you're all joining the session today. And Oliver, for me, it feels like yesterday when we both have been the first time in the car when it was still camouflaged. I think you guys saw it on the intro. Being around the Nürburgring, huh?
Yeah, around the Nürburgring, doing some laps, seeing how this wonderful beast handles. And I mean, here she is in all her glory.
Yeah, amazing, huh?
Fantastic.
It's unbelievable. And it's the most important question. And you are obliged to send us questions. We're looking forward to that. But the most important question in the end will be why we move to a mid-engine concept. And I think that is the first answer is very obvious. We're putting some more weight on the rear axle. And that means that
you get more traction. This is something that we saw for the very first time we tested the car at the race car, in fact. And then when I drove the road car for the first time at the Nürburgring, that traction that you feel, the way that it puts the power down, it's very reassuring and super secure.
And we all know that from normal life. It's not only about being around the Nürburgring or in the race car. Even in the winter, you all know that if you have more weight on the driving wheels, it really helps. And the same is here. If you're standing on the traffic light, going off of the traffic line, it's probably wet and raining and not the best condition. This car has now really all the power what it can put to the ground with this mid-engine concept. And the question will be probably why it took so long. I know 60 years ago people were talking about it, but it's always the Corvette have to fulfill so many other things than only being on the racetrack.
Yep, indeed.
It's something for shopping.
Oh yeah, or going to the golf club, or which you can still do with this car.
Yeah. And an hour later, you want to be on the racetrack, going to holiday, travel long distance, and we both have done that. And it's a perfect car for it, isn't it?
Yeah, it's wonderful. She's beautiful and she's comfortable, but she can transform into the race, almost like a race car, just instantaneously.
Yeah. So 60 years ago, the engineers were really having this idea in mind. So Soren Anton Dantov is a name that nearly everybody knows. He was really keen on that. And there's a whole generation of cars which were built as test units, and now finally we are here. It's a moment of glory, eh?
Yeah, it is. I mean, it's an exciting time, and we wanted to show you all of the details for this wonderful new Corvette Stingray.
And we want to give you also some more answers. It's not only the weight in the rear. There are some more benefits coming with it. And we have a pretty good shot, Oliver, where we see both cars from the top shot. It's a drone shot, basically, the previous model and the current Corvette Stingray.
We were looking at now how the seating position works, and how much further forward you are. You're I think it's 400 millimeters.
400 millimeters. The hood is a lot shorter, so you have better vision to the front. I think that helps to steer in.
Yeah, absolutely. You're feeling more engaged with the road. You feel like you're actually really there. With the way that the steering works as well, that's a little bit shorter, but it's stiffer, it's more precise. You feel that greater engagement with the road or with the racetrack.
And it's for me a little bit this go-kart feeling, what we all like to have in a car. It's more direct, it's more responsive. That is really cool.
That center of gravity and that rotation is now around you. You know, you feel it because the position for that axis, this was one of the very first things that I felt when I drove the race car for the first time, was that pivot point, that rotation point is now right around where you sit, which, I mean, for a driver, that is a key thing.
And we gave you all more space inside. For a guy like you, we have 27 centimeters more for seating position. So that is really a cool thing, eh?
Yeah, for the taller guys, that's a big bonus.
Yeah. So let's really have a look from a distance how the thing one is looking. It's really a clear Corvette face, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. Just the lights and the look.
Yeah, absolutely. Big inlets for the cooling in the front. We have already more cooling surface here, and there's another radiator here on the right side on the quarter panel. And I think we have also a pretty good shot how we already in the beginning, and you know how it is with aerodynamics.
Absolutely.
How early we start really looking on all this aerodynamics. There's a pretty good video running.
It's pretty cool the way that the air is running over the car. We're going to see with the way that the air comes into the radiators. And it comes through the front, and then comes around the front wheel here, and then the line on the side, on the door here, the air then passes down underneath this line, stays out of this intake, so the hot air coming out of the radiators stays out of the intake here into the engine, and likewise for the radiator on the other side, it's exactly the same. So and then the air, when it comes over the top here, and it's running down, and it's then run straight into the intake, into the engine, and then also on the other side going then into that third radiator. We have 3 radiators on this car.
Yeah, absolutely. So we want to keep everything cool, a good performance. And as a race driver, you're probably inspired also.
Yeah.
That looks a little bit like a spoiler, a front windshield. And in fact, it is really a kind of a spoiler because we have an air bubble really pushing here the car down. Huh?
Absolutely, and that then gives you that extra little bit of hookup on that front axle. So this one of the things we found with the race car, and then when we're running the road car at someone like the Nürburgring, you're feeling that extra pressure over that front axle. In those higher speed corners, you can really feel that loading up, gives you that extra confidence and extra engagement, and you really do feel that the car is carving nicely through those high speed turns.
And that is exactly the point, because for sure we had also a windshield on the previous model, but this was a lot further back. So this is the key point what Oliver just described.
Absolutely, and I mean, and we even walk further back, and we're getting to the rear wing here, and this is something where, you know, this is a little bit more like what you would see maybe on the race car, but then in the center here, with the way that the air works around the car, and this kick up on the back here, giving you that extra little bit of downforce. I think the total downforce for the car...
It's 181 kilograms at 290 kph. Huh?
Yeah.
It's quite a number.
That's pretty impressive.
And the good thing on this spoiler, Oliver, and I know you are used to big, high spoilers, massive spoilers in a race car, but we also want to use that car, as I said previously, as a normal car driving on the street. And for example, you want to get to the boot to put something in and out. If you have a huge spoiler behind it, so it's like, wow. Now this is working very well and gives you that
absolutely
possibility. And we have quite a boot here. Tim, if you want to come over, you can really look into that. There are 2 golf bags that you can fit in, a lot of luggage. We have special designed luggage what we can fit in there. So that is really a good possibility. And there's not only this boot. We have another one here in the front. And this gives you also quite some luggage space, and it's also here possible to hook up a cooling box. For example, we have beautiful weather today, so when you want to go out for a picnic,
picnic, absolutely.
Family,
Perfect.
You pack the cooler in here, and you can even cool that doing the run. So I think we talked already a lot, and I assume the people will have questions.
Where's René?
Oh, here's René already. Hey.
Exactly. How could you guess? I think your very audible entrance made a big impact. We got a few questions around noise, sound, of course, of the exhaust sound.
Am I too loud?
You're a bit loud. Or they talk in the car, but of course. And there's some concerns that the European versions may not sound as powerful as the US versions, a bit weaker or less pronounced. What do you think? Because of this awesome gas particulate filter, as they put it.
Awesome gas particulate filter. Yeah, for sure. There are some European regulations that we have to fulfill. Let's say that way. We will, but also we have to fulfill. And for sure, the car will have a little bit of a different sound, but I can promise you it will be still the emotional Corvette sound. We work pretty hard. Actually, Oliver, I think you're on the side. You can probably explain how the intake system works that gives you already a good sound.
Oh, yeah. So as the air passes in here, it's coming through and feeding the engine, but then also the way that the noise is then coming back and into the cabin. So you're getting that V8 sound, that really strong V8 sound, which is, I mean, it's all Corvette.
And still, the exhaust gives also a lot of good sound, believe me. So we will show you pretty soon as we have the first cars then here.
Going to be exciting and fascinating. There is a follow-up question from the UK, just right after this V8 sound question. Will they get the same cars as on the continent now that the UK is no longer a member of the EU? What will be the differences between the UK car and the continental car?
Let me quickly think. The steering wheel is on the other side, so that will be the difference.
Exactly.
Only difference.
The only difference. And a follow-up question from our customer in Czech Republic. He asked whether there's only one service partner. No, there are actually two in the Czech Republic. Okay, what are the service intervals for the UK cars? Same as the European continental version as well. It's 15,000 kilometers in the continent. That's about 9,000 miles. Is that right?
Yeah, be around about that.
Around about that. Okay. There are a lot of questions on tires, but we get to that a bit later, I think.
I think the main answer is clear. They're black and
black
round.
and round. Exactly.
And they're Michelins.
Exactly. Okay.
Don't spoil it yet, man.
Did I give it away? I blew it up. Sorry.
Absolutely. Okay, I'll get back to you with more questions then.
Okay, so we have seen this car here in the showroom, and it looks stunning. But let's have a look how this car is looking when it's out and driving. I think that is a really important point. And we have a small little video here. So it looks like they had somebody a really good day. But let's have a closer look to the engine.
Where was that? Where was that shot, Patrick?
It was on a proving ground in Boxberg, Germany. I think we will talk later about it.
Yeah.
So the first and really most important answer on the engine, because I know there were a lot of rumors with, is it turbocharged? Is it a four-cylinder engine? No, guys, it's really a V8 engine. Oliver said it already before. You have all the power, the torque, and the emotion what a V8 engine brings. And a V engine needs to be in a Corvette. So that is really the good news on the engine.
Yep.
And it's a total new engine. It's lower built in, and I think we have a pretty good picture on that. And also on your race car, that's helping. Huh?
Yeah, this is something that the engineers worked on for really some time, trying to get that engine in there in the middle of the car, really low, get that center of gravity as low as you possibly can. And that was something, again, when we first tested the race car, there's that feel that you get, that ability to deliver the power was just phenomenal. It was hard to break traction at times, and that having that layout, that's phenomenal.
Yeah, and we really created the new engine. We put the crankshaft lower in the engine block, and that is also working pretty well in line with the double clutch transmission. But let's have a closer look at the engine. It's also important that the engine is good to reach, and we put a lot of thoughts behind it, and if Tim is coming a little bit closer, he can show the engine, how it's built in, really how we can get to the engine. It's easy to remove the rear part here, so the mechanics can get to the engine very well. All the stuff that needs to be reached on the normal service is from underneath, easy to get. So it's that is really important, and always a strength of Corvette that we can easily maintain the car.
And then even when you're looking here on the top, the way that this is being vented out, the heat is being vented out, so to make sure that cooling is prioritized and really working well. And this is something that the engineering group really worked very, very hard on.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's like now in the race car you have shift pedals, and that is the good news with the double clutch transmission. I think we have a very good picture of this double clutch transmission, and the good thing is we were able to start with a blank sheet of paper to build our own transmission, really to our needs. And you know how important that is for fitting in the car and also to fit all the needs. For example, we have this active differential build it into this double clutch transmission. Huh?
So whether you're thinking about the paddles and the shifting, or whether you're thinking about the differential, this is something again that was really, I found out for the first time when I drove the car at the Nürburgring, and the speed of the shifts, but then also the power delivery as you're shifting gear was phenomenal. Was really fantastic, and there's hardly a break in the delivery. I mean, we talk about shift times. Shift times are that's one of the things that it was always the headline thing, or it's in the press, but that's fast with the shifting here, but it's also the way that power is delivered throughout the shifting process. Really fantastic.
And that is really a key thing on this transmission, what it's doing it really outstanding. I think we are really in the lead with that power delivery.
Absolutely.
Yeah?
And then with the differential, the active differential, the way that can be tuned and the way that works, and the way that when you're changing, we're going to get onto drive modes in a bit, aren't we? But when you do adjust the drive mode, and the way that can adjust, and the way that works, and then the way that the car is on the brakes and it's secure, and then it's maybe freeing up a little bit as you're turning into the corner, and then as you're putting the power down, it's then locking up and really giving you that traction and security as you're trying to get off the corner. All those sorts of things.
This is really one of the key things to steer in here. That is one of the best benefits of an active differential.
Absolutely.
Because you have free running wheels in the rear. So after the braking, we loosen it up, and then you can steer in, and the car is following exactly what you want to do.
And then it rotates nicely, and then on power, off of the corner, it really hooks up.
Here,
Yeah.
there's some more stuff. Shift pedals. We have the function, for example, declutching. So when you pull both pedals at the same time, it's like pulling a clutch pedal. So there's no connection anymore. And at low speed, we have a kind of rapid start function, so till 10 kph.
What would you do with those?
Now, it's not me, it's you doing always the burnout, or isn't it?
I don't know.
Don't blame it on...
I don't know.
Maybe, whatever.
Yeah.
So this is a nice function, and also for other things, when you want to drift and steer in, that stuff, it's really helpful.
It is. I mean, it's a great little feature that we have.
Yeah. So what is missing? One other thing is, for example, how the transmission works together with the engine. I think that is also an interesting thing, because we have, for example, active fuel management. So we can shut off 4 cylinders when we don't need them. So that is happening when you're cruising around, only a little bit of throttle input, around 6%, then we go to full mode again. But that is helping saving fuel, and maybe some colleagues who had a previous model realized on the manual transmission there were sometimes that they could feel it when the shift happened. But now with this double clutch transmission, we have the clutch working, helping us.
Seamless.
And it's seamless.
It's absolutely
seamless. It's really
seamless.
seamless. It's amazing how cool this turned out. And I assume with all what we said about power, engine, transmission, I assume there will be some more questions.
Here he comes.
Here he comes. Well, question about fuel, flex fuel, E85. Is there plans to introduce an E85 version? Because that would help save a lot of taxes in France, for example.
Not to my knowledge.
Not to my knowledge, okay. Can I drive the Corvette in winter?
Absolutely. I drove last year a lot.
Talking about fun, no?
Yeah, a lot driving in winter. Their winter tires working very, very well. And as we said, with all the grip in the rear, it's a lot of fun, believe me. And
also,
I'm coming from rally driving, so I know what I'm talking here.
And there's also the weather mode, the drive mode we can adjust there.
Yeah, absolutely. We will go to the drive modes. There's a lot of stuff what is helping you guys.
Talking about winter, any chance to put a snowboard in the car or skis on the roof maybe? It would be big or great fun to drive.
Yeah, or a trailer.
Exactly.
No. No. I think there's probably some substance available, but I have not seen something yet. So check out with your dealers if there is something, but not to my knowledge.
Accessories, yeah, exactly. Then the opposite of winter driving, will there be all-season tires, maybe for those who do not choose to go on a racetrack ever?
We go to tires. I will answer that in details, and I think the answer comes by itself, but I will point it out again what it means, because there's a lot that we're talking about tires.
With the tires,
Okay. Then there is a question about availability of the car in the UK. We can answer that right away. It's the same month as here on the continent. It's October when the first cars will reach showrooms in Europe. And will it only be available in 3LT trim level? No, that's just for the launch editions. You can have it later, of course, also in 3LT, but as of later production, you can also choose freely choose your options, and starting with 2LT trim level, actually. So these are the questions for now. Thank you, guys.
Thanks, René.
So, yeah, cool. Let's have a look. We talked about tires. Hey, Oliver, let's have a look closer to tire and suspension. The good thing is, Oliver mentioned already, and I know you're in love because you're racing on Michelin tires, and the good thing is, yeah, we have the Michelin tires back on the car, and it's really a great, outstanding tires who can serve all our needs of normal driving, but also on track driving. And it's Michelin Pilot Sportford 4S, and it has a very common size, so that is also the reason that you get easily winter tires. But there's one thing where you have to watch out, because Michelin is producing this tire with the same name for different manufacturers. And our tire is a run-flat tire, and it's special made for that car. And you know how important it is that the tire fits to the car and what is all related to it.
Yeah, this is something that's super important. This is something that we found out in the racing program, and I've also seen on road cars, that when you switch tires. So let's get back to the Michelin that's on this car, on the new Corvette Stingray. It's been finely tuned to all the characteristics of the car. You all of a sudden change that tire, you put something else on, then you're going to have to really work with the suspension to get that ride quality back and to get that precision back. So it does really affect the handling characteristics of the car, and that's why it's so important to stick with Michelin and stick with this particular.
I could probably say the car learns to drive and walk in this way on this tire. So everything is related to it. And that is really the answering also, or that's also answering the question with all-season tire. So if you take an all-season tire or a different tire on the Z51 package that we're selling here, you're losing a lot, where our engineers spend a lot of work there and a lot of performance and a lot of ride quality, etc., etc. So watch out. Whenever you replace these tires, there is a sign that they are built for us. It's TPC, so Tire Performance Certification. There's a spec with it. This meant that is our tire.
Yeah, it's important. It's very, very important.
Very, very important. Believe us. He knows what he's talking. I'm here. So we have also a nice picture what is behind this tire. For sure, you see here very obvious, first of all, the brake caliper. And Oliver has over there a whole amount of different colors. That is pretty cool how you can configure your car.
Yeah, you can spec it up. You can find one that matches.
Really nice, really strong brake caliper.
Brembo is the manufacturer.
Yeah, our supplier. And there's a story for sure everybody were talking about is we have an electronic brake booster. And some people were talking, is it brake by wire? It's still a connection between your brake booster and the master cylinder. So in case that the system would not work or no power or whatever, you always can brake. There's always a straight connection to your master cylinder. But in the end, we pushing a sensor, and that has a couple of benefits. One is we can deliver bits and bytes much faster throughout the car. We have a new digital platform that is a high-speed bus that is running there. That is much faster than any fluid that we can push. The other thing is we can deliver always a same pedal feel. And I think Oliver is struggling in a race more often with a long pedal.
Yes,
and you know how bad that is?
Yeah, exactly. And that can be something that is really rather disconcerting and doesn't make you very comfortable or confident. So now with this new system, you have that confidence in the pedal all the time. And that was one of the things that I tested for the very first time myself when I was there at the Nürburgring with the engineering group. And it was something that really did install a lot of confidence in me. So I think this is a great step forward.
Yeah, and you can even choose how hard your pedal will be. So there are 3 different possibilities for you. You can select that in the menu and you get always the same feel. And when you're looking a little bit further behind, you see the suspension. And that looks actually, Oliver, I would say, not so much different than from your race car, isn't it?
Yeah, that's certainly another thing where the road car group and the racing group have been working together to try and get this real tech transfer across the 2 platforms of road car and race car. Really fantastic.
But there is a big, big difference when you look at the shock absorber. It's not a big difference in the way that you can adjust the height, because that is something that you can do on your race car. You can do it also here. So you can move the 20 millimeters up and down. But we have magnetic ride control. And that is really something that you don't have.
No, we do not have that. And that is an absolute, it's phenomenal in how that works. It really is.
Yeah, it gives you the best of 2 worlds, because that means you can travel, you can be very comfortable in the car. You don't have to drive and sit always like that in the car, like you in your race car, and you don't want to have that when you're traveling on vacation with your wife, or?
No, definitely not. So you want that nice, smooth touring feel, a supple ride. But then if you want to go fast and you want to really just click it into the high performance mode, sport mode, or even track mode, the way that the suspension stiffens up just instantaneously. And that feel that you get, that really leaning on the corner, really loading everything up really quickly, that go-kart feel, it's fantastic.
Yeah, and the good thing is McNarite is so unbelievable fast. So we can read the street nearly every couple of centimeters. So we can run 1,000 cycles per second. Can you imagine that? 1,000 times in 1 second we can tell McNarite stiffer or softer.
Yeah, it's really phenomenal.
And maybe you are asking now why there is still a passive damper available in the car. And I think this answer is also a kind of straightforward. I know there's always guys who want to be different on the car. Yeah, different tires, whatever.
They want to tune a little.
They want to tune, whatever. Then we recommend you, hey, go with a passive damper, because McNarite is really leaning on that package.
Yeah,
it is. Tire, on everything. It's calibrated for that.
It has. It's been the thousands of hours that the engineering group has worked on really fine-tuning that to all the different characteristics. It's super, super important, and it works so well. But yeah, if you wanted to go to the passive damper, if you wanted to tune, you wanted to work away with a few things, have at it, absolutely.
And we have another option, what is available. And I think in the UK, it's maybe in some areas not a bad thing, but also here in Germany, we have very often speed bumps. We have a front lift now. And this front lift can lift up here on the shock absorber around 38 centimeters. It's in the front. It will be around 50 millimeters. And you can do that up to 38 kilometers of speed.
Yeah.
And you push a button, it's racing up, push a button, it's going down.
But with that option, you don't have the ability to then change that ride height, do you? If you're looking to take the car to the track.
That is the only downside. So if you want to go to a track, or if you want to have your car a little bit lowered, that is only possible with a normal layout.
Yeah, absolutely.
But important, if you're doing that, please really do it at your dealership. Make sure that you align the car. Looking for crossweight, it is always something that you're pointing also out.
Yeah, absolutely. This is all very, very important stuff. Making sure the alignment's right, making sure that your crossweights are right, making sure that you have the car absolutely in the correct window to run when you're on the racetrack, because this car will really come alive when you do that.
Absolutely. And since we have now thrown out so many technical details and
here he is.
Naming, René is coming back with questions.
I saw
that already.
Talking about tires and fast speed and so on, and there's a question, must be from the UK. We all know how much it rains in Europe. How safe are these Michelin tires in the wet?
I mentioned that already. The tires are really good. They are really great performance, a great draining capability. I think it's the right thing to say here. And we have a lot of, and we will come back to drive modes. When we come into drive modes, we can point out a lot of things on systems, what we have that is helping you really driving also in the rain. And a lot of grip in the rear. It's unbelievable.
Grip in the rear, also more weight in the rear. Previous generations had almost a 50-50 weight distribution. How safe is it to drive the car fast in turns when maybe sitting in the middle you don't feel the rotation right away?
I think you get now really an argument with
exactly.
The feedback you get with this car is phenomenal. You are really in touch with everything that's going on. You know, every single corner, all four corners. It's that connectivity and that feedback you get is really fantastic.
Yeah, and you have to keep in mind, before you had the center of gravity around your knees when you're sitting in the car. Now you have it here. That is the area where all the information coming into your body, what is happening. Exactly. So it's you are so connected to the car. It's really day and night.
Yeah.
Did we take time on the Nordschleife? You both were driving on the Nordschleife, or is that a secret?
We have been there.
We remain very discreet about it. Okay. Well, there are questions about the engine. Also, people would like to see more of the back of the car. I think we're coming to that. And horsepower,
Tim, we have some work to do for you.
Performance questions, I think we all will come to that. Maybe just one question now here. In the UK, premium fuel only, 95 or 98?
98. I would, guys, Sam, you're having a car, you're having horsepower. It for sure in these days it will not kill the car if you put 95 in. We have all the technology to change the spark time, etc. But if you want to have performance, hey, you cannot run a marathon if you eat apple in the morning. Yeah.
Where is it being built? Bowling Green is the plant in Kentucky.
Famous Bowling Green.
Yeah, exactly.
It's a cool museum nearby in case that you are sometimes going there.
Very close to the plant. Last question for now. Does the C8 have an NCAP safety rating? Not yet. So we're still in the homologation phase here. Once everything is in the house.
But I can point out actually that it's a very safe car. And based for that is also the structure of the car. It's actually, Oliver, if I'm not mistaken, you having exactly the same frame in your race car, huh?
So the chassis that you see here is exactly the same chassis that you would see in the C8R. And that's one of the other things that the road car program and all the engineering group works so hard with the race team, the Corvette racing team, to really get that tech transfer. And so all of the safety features that you'll be seeing in this road car is also some of the safety features you're seeing in the C8R. So that transfer of technology is really fantastic.
So before I leave, one more question about magnetic dampers. What exactly is it doing? And if I'm not going on the track, what does it do for me?
Okay. That can probably take hours, but some of you have already driven it in previous generation. We developed it in the time with the C5. That was the first time that we came out with magnetic ride. And it's basically an idea what come from a long time ago from a Russian space prof. And it's actually metal particles which are in the shock absorber really connected to the oil. So the trick is really that you have oil in the oil, in the molecules, this metal particles, so that it's the same amount in the lower part and in the upper part. And then the piston is coming up and down, and there's electromagnetic field in there, and we can run, as I said, 1,000 cycles per second. So we can say in the damping or in the rear bound, make it stiffer or softer. And the good thing is that gives you unbelievable good ride quality on the road. It's like in a perfect limousine traveling
Silky
to
smooth.
Vacation.
Yeah. Magic
Absolutely
carpet.
smooth. It's really amazing, and that is also one of the reasons we have a couple of new things in. We have faster communication, so we are much faster telling that to the Magno Ride thing. And then you go to a racetrack and you can stiff that up like his race car more or less. Huh?
Yeah, it's just instantaneous. It's remarkable how it works.
Cool.
What it's doing for you, you will love the car.
Absolutely. Thank you for that. See you later.
Yeah. So one of the most questions that we got in the last days, I have to say, is the question, can you still drift the car? And yes, I think you can, Oliver.
Absolutely. And I think we might be having a little bit of a competition on this over the next few months, eh?
Yeah, I guess so. That will happen. But let's have a look how this looks like. And awesome. I think this answers also the question from one of the colleagues before, if this car has grip. When you looked really on this video, how fast we came out on the end of this drift, it's amazing how this car built up. Yeah, it's built up
towards the end of it.
Speed. It's unbelievable in the drift. So we really have to hang in there, and it's really breathtaking. But the only reason that you can drift it is only when you switch off all the electronics. Yeah, that is an important thing when you want to drift, but the electronics are there that you're not drifting when you're driving on a normal street.
Absolutely.
And we have many things, and let's have a look to our drive modes. We have a pretty cool pictures coming with that. So we have many drive modes, I have to say. And in the past, we had these drive modes: Tour, Weather, you mentioned that.
Yeah, mentioned that earlier.
Sport and Track. So this was the standard what we had in the past, and we gave it really a clear name, so everybody can understand what it is. This drive mode. Tour is for traveling. Weather is for
for those tricky conditions and when it's not so nice out on the road.
Sport, if you have a nice country road. And Track is really for Oliver Gavin.
And that is the moment there when you go to that track mode and the car really the magnetic ride system, and then when all the traction control systems and the ESP and the way that the braking system is working, it all really comes together to enhance the car, to really give you that real on-track performance.
So behind the scenes, there are 13 different systems adjusting when you're moving from one to the other drive mode.
It's mind-boggling how it does it.
And we have 2 more drive modes now in this new Corvette. One is My Mode. That is also adjustable over the hub there in the
right
center
at your
console.
fingertips.
And there's Set Mode. That is something on the steering wheel. So these 2 drive modes you can configure by yourself. So you can pick out of the 13 basically what you want to have and what you like.
Yeah, I mean, and again, if you're then on the road and you're coming up to a particular spot, you think, okay, it's a nice flowing part. You know that the roads may be a little bit clear, and you might be able to lean on the car a little bit more.
So you're outing already that we both a big fan of the Set Mode?
Yeah, exactly. Hit that button. I love it.
Yeah, it's really. We were in the beginning when we saw it and said, okay, another drive mode, another thing on the steering wheel. We can also adjust it here on the side, but when you're driving the car, guys, it's amazing. You are traveling in this tour mode, very relaxed, hanging in the car, enjoying the nice ride with MagnaRide and everything. And then suddenly somebody built up this beautiful curve in front of you. Yeah. And we both cannot...
Just hit it.
Yeah, we have to hit it. We think actually to somewhere have to freeze this thumb there. No, it's really a pretty cool thing. And the best thing is that you also can hook up your performance tractions modes, what you will choose, to the set button. That is really a cool thing. And we have 5 different traction modes. It names performance traction. And it's something, a traction control system with stability in certain modes, and then 2 without stability. And it's like in your race car. Huh?
So these are the transfer of technology between the racing program and the road car program. When you're sitting there, you're looking at how you can adjust these traction control modes, and how you can then lean on those and work with the car, and you can use it to support you, and also it helps to sort of free you up as well. It's these options that the road car engineers are giving you to really experience the passion of driving a Corvette at speed and somewhat on the limit.
Yeah, absolutely. And the best thing is also, in all these performance traction modes, you have a launch control with you. So this means automatically, if you're in the set mode, push that button, you right away, you have the possibility to do a launch control start. And this is basically putting the pedal down for gas, maximum down, feet hard on the brake, and then release it, and then it's a Le Mans. No,
absolutely.
It's a race start. I should not say it's a Le Mans start, because
no,
it's a flying one in Le Mans.
But it's almost like that we're pulling away from that super fast pit stop. We're coming out of the pit box and back into the race.
Absolutely. And we can talk for hours about it, but I think the best is you see it yourself, guys. Listen to the sound. So actually, I could go racing right now, but with this nice weather out there, it's probably something else that we should do, because Corvette is always fulfilling a lot of different...
And this car is yellow. And how many years did I race a yellow Corvette? 20.
Yeah.
Let's go.
Amazing, eh?
Yeah.
But what you could not do on your race car is go on Sunday afternoon with your wife and open the roof and enjoying fresh air. And that is also something that a Corvette can do.
Got it.
And the best thing is, you don't have to walk away and carry that on and go, for example, to the pub. No, we can still put it in the rear of the car. So you have it always with you. It's easy to put in. Clock in and soft close. It's pretty cool. And right away you have a convertible. More or less, it's a Targa version. Is that not nice?
Oh, that's awesome.
And the best thing is, we have also a real convertible. And the good thing this time, it has a hardtop, huh?
Yeah. The way that it folds away.
Yeah, and the shape really nice. And the hardtop folds above the engine compartment.
Yeah.
So the good thing is, you have your full luggage compartment in the rear and in the front. Even if the top is down, The only downside is you cannot see this beautiful engine anymore. But that is not
That's a small downside.
small downside. So let's have a look how this is working, because this you can do during driving up to a speed of 50 kph. It needs around 17 seconds
That's amazing.
for full cycling.
17
We were
seconds.
slower. I don't know. I was a little
I think we need to
distracted.
practice it a bit more, Patrick.
Yeah. We do it afterwards.
Yeah. Look at that.
Yeah, and I really have to say, there are a lot of convertible which only looks nice if the top is down or if the top is up. This car looks always nice. If the top is up or down, it's always a beauty. And I really enjoy that one.
It's amazing. It's just stunning. Stunning.
Yeah. So let's have a closer look on the interior, Oliver. And I think you are probably the best guy to judge that. This car has the competition seat. So it's something that is really fitting all your needs, huh?
Yeah, and this is something very special. The competition seat, the way it's surrounding you and it's giving you support, and particularly if you're looking for that high performance driving and you're looking for on track, the way that it sits and fits you. And so for me, the way it's really lovely and snug, really gives you that side support, good support around the backside. But if this is not something that you want, or something that you're after, then the GT2 seat is a little bit plusher and a little bit easier on the ride and a little bit nicer. But it's when you actually, I'll shut the door here, and you're looking here at all of the interior. When you shut the door and you can see the animation start on the dash there, right? It's all nicely framed through the center of the steering wheel, but the quality throughout the interior here of the leather on the wheel, or whether it's then throughout the rest of the cabin. And you've got the stitching here, which is yellow in this car, but that is something that you can configure when you choose your car. But then everything else is right at your fingertips, whether it's the climate control or the heated seats or the vented seats, or the drive modes. That's all right here. It's like a fighter jet, the way it's all laid out. And then you've got the...
It looks really great, Oliver, I have to say.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
It's such a special area where you can work in. It's really a nice layout. And it's very low. It's good for the view to the front.
Absolutely. And so for me, I'm 186 centimeters, or 6'2". And the room in the cabin now is just been extended. I think, how much more space is there?
27 centimeters.
27 centimeters. That more space I have in here, and I'm comfortable and nice. In fact, I'm almost too far away from the steering wheel, so I'd have to move the seat forward, get myself a little bit closer. You can adjust the wheel, pull that towards you. But then you've got all the other things right here at your fingertips. We've even got the performance data recorder, which again is something that we're going to go on.
But what do you have there in the mirror up there?
Oh, this is fantastic. The way that this can be adjusted, the way you can this then is a camera that you can see out of the back of the car, and you can even enhance or change the way that looks. The angle of it can go a lot wider, and how you then see out of the back of the car.
So Oliver, if we are done, I think we have to go for a drive. The weather's nice, and there's a lot of nice speakers in there.
So we've got the Bose speakers here, 14 speakers throughout the car. The sound system is fantastic. We've also got a wireless charging here in the car for your mobile phone. But even if you're not wanting so much sound, then you can be picking up the noise of the V8 engine that's then coming through right behind you here, which again is a fantastic soundtrack.
So Oliver, you mentioned the PDR. What exactly is that?
So the performance data recorder, this is something that's now standard here on the Corvette Stingray. And that is something that I think we might be playing you a video shortly here on and this will be on the Boxberg Proving Ground. I think we did a lap there. But this is a system that records all of your data when you're out on track, and your lap times can be recorded. It's storing all of that vital data that you can then go back and review after you finish driving. And you've got this added benefit of a fantastic HD video, which it's for them being able to take that away, overlay and review. It's a wonderful tool.
You can even talk to this video when you're driving.
Yeah, you can talk to it. You can make marks in it. You can maybe if your passenger's not, maybe if it's you, Patrick, I don't know.
When I'm driving. Let's have a look to that video.
Yeah, let's have a look.
Yeah, here you see you can bring into the whole layout of a track. When you do one lap, the system is picking up with GPS how the layout is. You have all the data, G-force, shifting.
This is something that we use in the race car all the time. You know, when they're going back and after a session, after a practice session, or even a race, we're poring over the data. And you've got a lot of those vital channels that we use with the racing program. But you, as I say, you've got now all this fantastic HD video with this wonderful view that you can then go back and you can analyze and review, and the Cosworth toolbox that you can.
Correct. It's on an SD card.
SD card. I mean, it really is a great function and something that's it's standard now on this
Absolutely.
car.
And there's another good thing, eh?
Yeah.
You don't have a video when you're in a race car. You're relying always on this TV station. You have a video when you're driving there, and you can right away put it on all the social media stuff. I know everybody likes that, post that, and everybody sees that you're driving a cool thing. So with all that content, what we just had, René will probably come up with a ton of more questions.
Here he comes.
Here it comes, yeah. Lots of questions about our infotainment system, for example, or the equipment that we have in the car. Head-up display, is it an option or is it standard?
No, it's standard.
Wow.
That was probably the reason why we were not talking about it anymore, because it's so normal for us that we have a head-up display. Since C5, we having a head-up display in the car.
Wow, C5,
and it's such a great...
fourth generation of Corvette now.
It's such a great feature. You always can have the eyes on the street while driving. It's cool.
Yeah. What about Android Auto? We offer a standard as well.
Correct.
Exactly. And Apple CarPlay as well,
etc. So that is all, in.
Exactly. Then talking about the accessibility of the engine, pretty good on coupe. How about the convertible with the heat shield that you may have? Is it?
It's basically the same. You only have to take the heat shield up for things like taking oil in. There's an extra cap on the side, easy to do.
Yeah. Then a question about the drive modes. When you switch off the engine, will it stay in the mode that you selected before, or will you go back to the standard mode?
Depending, it will not stay in set mode, but it will stay in my mode, etc.
My mode, okay. And one of the customers wrote us, he sees a lot of tickets being handed out in the UK and Europe. Well, maybe that depends on your driving style, obviously, but there's definitely the potential.
Brakes are working, guys.
Exactly.
Brakes are working. So and we have a head-up display, so no excuses to the policeman.
Question about the seats. For someone who's never going on a racetrack, would you still recommend the competition seats or rather go with the GT2 seats?
I would go with the GT2 seat, definitely. The GT2 seat is really a great seat, a lot of side support, but it's also for this long distance traveling a very good seat. I drove so many kilometers in a GT2, it's so convenient.
It's really plush. It's nice.
I really like that one, but again, try it out. It's a thing, but for traveling, GT2 is a nice one.
You're right. Try it out. It's probably also depending on your size. Exactly. So how you fit in the seats. A question that came up early on: horsepower number. Again, maybe we should mention it again, and also the performance data that we have in Europe.
Oh yeah, I think everybody's waiting for that.
Exactly.
Huh? So we maybe walk away and not telling the people, and then no. Okay, horsepower number. We have 475 horsepower and 630 Newton meters on the European version. You're asking why is the maybe difference from the US? For sure, it's related to the gasoline particulate filter that we need here and all the regulations that we have in Europe. But what is it really doing? Is it doing much to harming the car, or is it slower? The top speed is exactly the same between the European version and the US version. And the 0 to 100 time, it's 3.5 seconds on the European version. And it's maybe some of you can say, oh, is that I have a totally different number from the US car.
But the reason for that is the way that it's
apples to apples, guys.
Measured.
I always say that. Yeah, it's the way that the US guys measuring the 0 to 100. Everybody is coming there from this quarter-mile races. So it's the moment where you go to the.
Well, I think it's the car is just moving very slightly, isn't it? And when it's that's in the US, and when it's measured here, it is actually from the static point that from the stop to start.
So the US guys taking the first feet of traveling away because of the measuring system. So that is, a US car is running 0 to 100, if you measure it here, around 3.4 seconds. So there's only 1/10 of a second that we slower. So you're not losing much, but you are in the European regulation, and I think that is important.
And it's also the speed gap, 0 to 60 miles is not exactly 0 to 100.
Yeah, exactly. That is another good point.
Again, it's not apples for apples there.
Exactly. Question about how tall you can be to still be seated comfortably. You were 186.
186.
He's the tallest guy in here, and he is fitting in. I think we have to find somebody else to try out.
He's 190. I think, including your hair, it should be fine.
Maybe.
You're about that size. No,
Yeah,
you fit
it always
perfectly
depending also a little bit how you are.
Yeah, of course.
The
Your
legs, the
legs,
proportions.
your torso, or your leg length, and
Right.
yeah.
Recommendation always: see your dealership, try it out. I think that is easy to do, guys.
Another question about the head-up display. What information are we showing on the head-up display?
Oh, it's a ton of information. It's changing with the drive modes. You can select a lot of things. Everything what you need, from navigation system, a call is coming in, to G-force, RPMs, so speed for sure.
All sorts,
It's really, really configurable. You can change it through all of those different drive modes, and there's a lot of information you can get. Or if you wanted to even turn it off,
Can reduce it or
you
turn
can
it
reduce it or even turn it off.
Yeah. Someone heard that you can't put the car on the track when you order the front lift. Is that correct?
We're not saying you cannot put it on the track, but you can, and Oliver can go through it, what it means. You can adjust it much better for being fast on the track, because you can adjust the height of the car and you can adjust the crossweight, so you can really tune it in very well. So, but you can still go on the track. So if you're only going sometimes on the track for fun, not a problem. If you want to be the guy chasing Oliver Gavin on the track, you better go for a good suspension. You need it.
Absolutely. Well, we're talking about the Stingray now. There are, of course, always questions about what's coming next. Will there be even more powerful versions of the
Is that
Corvette?
crystal ball again?
I lost it yesterday before the show. There's somewhere a crystal ball where I can look in, but no, we cannot comment on future product. Sorry for that. But you maybe see us in the future again on stage and we're talking about, I found this crystal ball.
Yeah. Absolutely. What you can say for sure is that after the launch editions, again, you will be able to configure your car yourself. So there will be more options, obviously, to put that car together as you like it and as you wish, according to your preferences. And that's going to be towards the end of the year production. Okay, that's it for now. See you later.
Okay.
Thanks, Rene.
Thank you.
So, Oliver, there were some rumors that you stopping racing. Is that a rumor or?
That is the truth. That is, I have stopped racing. My very last race was at Spa-Francorchamps in the World Endurance Championship, driving a C8R and driving for Corvette Racing. And that was an amazing experience.
But Oliver, it cannot be that you retire earlier than me. That is not going to work, I tell you right away. But you drove in Spa last weekend, huh?
Yeah, it was. It really was phenomenal. Just that experience of driving there in the C8R, doing Eau Rouge at 240 k's an hour, the compression there, and then the cornering force and the way that the car felt. I mean, it was such an experience, a real thrill.
I think you brought us some footage, huh?
Yeah, there's a
Let's
little video.
have a look. So Oliver, that was really great stuff. My hands are still sweaty, so I'm jealous that I was not there. And when I saw this normal car standing next to the race car, it looks, first of all, very good.
Yeah.
Secondly, it looks like that you're not retiring before me.
No, in fact. And I'm sure we're going to be seeing quite a lot of one another, Patrick. But yes, the racing side of things has stopped for me. But I am going to be moving to the next chapter, which is going to be the Oliver Gavin Driving Academy. And so that is going to be based here in Germany, centrally based in Germany, at the Boxberg Proving Ground. And we have our Corvette Stingrays on order, and we hope to be offering our first pilot programs out towards the end of this year, towards the end of 2021. Then as we get into the spring of 2022, we hope to offer our full range of events and program. And so that's going to be driver training. That's going to be track days, but it's also going to be some very, very special travel experiences. And one of those travel experiences is going to be going to the 2022 Le Mans 24 Hours, with our fleet of Corvette Stingrays, and I will be your guide.
Are you kidding me? So you have the chance to go with a 5-time Le Mans winner to Le Mans as a customer?
Yep, that's the plan.
Guys, I hope that your wife watching with you, because she knows now what is the Christmas present for you. That is really amazing, or isn't it?
It's going to be great. I'm really looking forward to it. Can't wait for our cars to arrive, and we're really, really excited.
So where can you sign up for that?
Yeah, so if you go to ogda.online, that's you can find out more information there, and we'll be updating you shortly.
So what does this ODGA stand for?
The Oliver Gavin Driving Academy.
Oh.
Yeah.
What a surprising name, huh?
What a fitting name, definitely.
Yeah,
So because René, I was assuming that this question's coming in, right? So I had to ask.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, now that is answered, that one. Can we have a last round of questions here?
Absolutely.
Are you still up to it?
Absolutely.
Very good. Very good. Does the car have cylinder deactivation? And if so, will there be a manual gearbox?
I'm not sure what
really,
the question really has together with each other. First of all, it has active fuel management, cylinder deactivation. We mentioned that 4 cylinders going off, slightly different order as on the previous one, till around 6% throttle position, and depending on your drive mode, so there's changing, there's a clear answer on that one. And manual transmission, no, there are a lot of good reasons for that. Oliver mentioned that it's the new technology. It's the way how you constantly can deliver power to the rear wheels. And when you look at a racetrack, you have a car with manual transmission and a double clutch transmission. On a straightaway, if you have to shift twice, the other guy passed you, and all your driving skills are gone. And Oliver, having the hands on the steering wheel, huh? I listened always to when you was telling the stories.
Absolutely, it's super important, and just being slow and controlled on the wheel. I mean, it's all of those things that you can focus fully on where the car is going on the racetrack, and how you're feeling, and enjoying the passion of this wonderful Corvette Stingray. It really is special.
Another question, how many cars will be produced for the UK? Is it limited in any form, shape or fashion? Of course not. Now that we finally have a ride-and drive version, we will not limit that.
I can't wait.
Exactly. However, you will have to be patient, especially during the first few months, of course, when we supply the launch editions. The allocation to the dealers will be made once the production starts of the European versions, left and right, and ride-and drive, and that's in the month of August. So contact your nearest dealer and find out when the cars will be available. There's also a question about dealerships in the UK. There seem to be only 1 and 2 service partners for the time being. That's correct, but please let us know, and the more demand there is, of course, the more we have.
And we had no ride-and drive car before.
Exactly.
So
the more we can push for more dealers as well. So expected price in the UK, maybe I can take that myself as well quickly. It's £81,700 for the coupe. We're very richly equipped. Of course, we talked about C51 and launch edition and all the goodies that are in the car.
Absolutely.
So it's not a base version at all. It's very, very highly equipped.
It's a real high spec, isn't it?
A really high spec. Yeah, it's 3LT also, and so the top spec that you can have. Can you force 4 cylinders to close when in tour mode? Can you force to deactivate?
Yeah, you can force that with your throttle position.
You're right.
No, it's going completely automatically. Your driving style is making that work.
Exactly, it does that for you. And there's some people looking forward to seeing us at the racetracks pretty soon, maybe in Le Mans also.
Guys, watch out, we will be...
Yeah.
Hi, Nancy and Philip. Yeah, exactly, we will see you there. That's it for now with the questions. I think, if you have more that you hadn't time or chance to do right now, send them in through social media. We're on Instagram and Facebook. Always ready to receive your questions, and we'll answer them there. You can also watch that video again on our hub, where we put all the questions and answers that may have been answered or maybe not. So it's worthwhile visiting that. And if you haven't signed up for a newsletter, please do so you'll be getting always the latest information. And at the very, very last note, if you want to rate us at the end of this session, please do so. There will be a rating system that you can give us some stars. Thank you very much. It was
Thank
great
you,
fun
Mr. Kreis.
with you.
Thank you, René.
I hope you enjoyed this.
It's been a pleasure. Thank you, Patrick.
Thank you.
Wish you a great weekend, guys, out there.
Yeah, thank you for
Thank you
watching.
very much.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
This car is not evolutionary, it's revolutionary. And you only get one chance to do it right.